There is no Planet B. Protests worldwide call for action on climate change.
Here's a summary of the article.
Rod McGuirk and Frank Jordans, The Associated Press published Friday, September 20, 2019 6:36 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Last updated Friday, September 20, 2019 8:22 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Berlin, hundreds of thousands of protesters in Australia, many of them children who skipped school, kicked off a day of demonstrations around the world against climate change in the run-up to a UN summit in New York. Even though we ourselves aren't sick, the planet which we live on is, and we are protesting and fighting for it, said Siobhan Sutton, a 15-year-old student at Perth Modern School. Organisers estimate more than 300,000 protesters took to Australian streets in what would be the country's biggest demonstration since the Iraq War in 2003. In Germany, which has seen large-scale climate rallies for over a year, police said 17,000 people had gathered in the southwestern city of Freiburg, one of 500 cities across the country where protests were planned. In the capital Berlin and Germany's financial hub of Frankfurt, some protesters staged brief road blockades to highlight their demands for a drastic reduction in the country's greenhouse gas emissions, to which transport is a major contributor. Under pressure from sustained protests over the past months, the government of Chancellor Angela Merkel is planning to announce a package of measures to reduce Germany's greenhouse gas emissions later Friday. The protests are partly inspired by the activism of Swedish teenager Greta Thunberg, who has staged weekly demonstrations under the heading Fridays for Future over the past year, calling on world leaders to step up their efforts against climate change.
This post received a score of 16,424, with an upvote ratio of 93%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Hitchens on this topic. We should act as if it is real, because we don't have another planet on which to conduct the experiment.
Even if we had just one other habitable planet to conduct the experiment, doing so would be a potential waste of a major natural resource, even though it wouldn't carry the risk of human extinction.
If we did, the mega-rich would just fuck up that one too.
Conservatives. The mega-rich are like 5,000 people, they aren't going to outvote shit without their dumb, easily duped following.
They don't need to vote for shit when they're outright bribing politicians.
Yes they do, they're not going to be able to bribe a Bernie Sanders. They need the masses to vote in corrupt politicians, and the only way to do that is to dupe them by blaming everything on immigrants or say climate change is a Chinese hoax.
They aren't going to be able to bribe Sanders, which is why they are putting so much money and effort into suppressing his campaign.
So you're saying they're duping the masses into voting for corrupt politicians exactly like you, numerous_examination said. First thought was they are chanting King Gizzard.
To be fair, the album is about the exact same message. Self-Immolate is my #1 King Gizzard song.
The album in general is just my favorite thing they've ever done, and I've been a fan for years.
Can't believe King Lizard is finally one of the big four of thrash metal, I'm so proud of them.
Anthrax was always the odd one out in my opinion anyways.
I've seen all four, and while it is my opinion that Megadeth holds the crown, Anthrax puts on a hell of a show. Both with John and Joey. Testament and Exodus slay as well. Gizzard threw the fuck down in Austin a few weeks ago. Those guys are a blast. I definitely enjoyed hearing the new tracks, but I enjoy them for the weird mind benders they send me on with the rest of their discography. I guess I'll close out this tangential ramble with the fact, but there is always room for more thrash. Edit, oh, and save the fucking earth. That's where thrash lives.
Planet B by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard sums this up nicely. Open your eyes and light the fluid, get into a petrol siphon. Low on meals, Browning Fieldsbury children.
There is no Planet B, sign of the horns.
Open your eyes and see.
Open your eyes and see, there is no Planet B.
We have pretty good ideas what to do, e.g. a carbon tax or CO2 trading system. Both push the market to reduce emissions effectively. Issues with companies moving outside of the taxed area can be fixed with adjustment taxes on imports and adjustment subsidies on exports. Combine this with funding of research into carbon-avoiding technologies and maybe other regulations on wasteful practices.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.